10-year-old girl didn't survive this giant water slide. This is what happened to her. When you're a kid, one of the most fun things to do in the summer is to visit an amusement park. The rides are exciting, the attractions are engaging and unique, and the food and snacks are often tasty and delicious. Amusement parks are intended for the entertainment and fun of the whole family, and safety is always a top priority at these places. However, even though the parks are tightly regulated and the vast majority of them already have several with stricter than necessary safety checks, there are things that people simply can't prepare for. The Eisenbys were an ordinary married couple whose life was much like that of other middle-class citizens in the US. Mrs. Tina Eisenbys worked as a secretary in an insurance agency, and her husband Jerry had his own cabinet-making shop. They lived a comfortable and quiet life without great luxuries, but with enough financial stability to never have to worry about the bills. The couple met at a wedding of mutual friends, and their courtship was so sweet and quick, no one was surprised when their wedding invitation arrived only a year and a half after they met. After getting married, Tina quickly became pregnant, and they welcomed their only daughter, London, a beautiful little girl with green eyes and golden curly hair who stole the hearts from the moment she arrived in this world. In fact, London had the superpower to steal the hearts of everyone who was lucky enough to meet her. She was a sweet girl, somewhat shy with strangers at first, but extremely funny and cheerful as soon as she got to know you better. Her parents tried to give her a sibling as they didn't want her to grow up alone and have an adventurous companion to grow up with, but it wasn't possible. At first it was very hard, and Tina felt very guilty for not being able to be a mother again and expand the family. But with time, and thanks to the love they felt for their little girl, they managed to overcome the pain and find a new purpose in life. London became the center of their entire universe. For the Eisenbys, their daughter's happiness and safety were the most important thing, something they took care to show her every day of her life. "You're the sweetest, greatest gift life has ever given us, sweetheart. You know that, don't you? You're a blessing, London. Your father and I are so lucky to be your parents," Tina told her daughter the night before her 10th birthday. "I know, Mommy. You always tell me that," the giggly girl replied as she snuggled into her bed. For her age, London was already taller than most girls in her class and also demonstrated a maturity beyond the rest. She was not a fickle child, even if her parents would go out of their way to buy her everything she liked or might need. So when her 10th birthday came and her parents asked her what she wanted to do to celebrate it, she simply answered, "I want to go to the biggest water park there is. I can't wait to go down one of those water slides we see on TV." Her parents knew how much their daughter loved swimming. The sea and animals were at the top of the list of her passions, so they were not at all surprised to hear their little girl's birthday wish. The year before, for her 9th birthday, they'd given her a beautiful Siamese cat whom she decided to name Luna. This year was time to fulfill another of her big dreams, although it was impossible to know how much it would actually cost them. "Tomorrow we're going to the best water park you've ever seen, and you can go down all the water slides you want, honey. You'll see, it'll be an unforgettable day," her father promised her as they prepared everything for little London's big day. Jerry assured his daughter that the 10th birthday would be unforgettable, and it certainly was. They could never have imagined how far he would go to keep that promise. When the Eisenbys took their daughter London to Zander's Splash Village in Frankenmuth, Michigan to celebrate her birthday, they never imagined that the day would turn into a tragedy of the worst kind. Arriving at the park, London was excited and couldn't wait to start sliding down the big slides that were advertised on the big signs around the park. It was a beautiful day, the sun was shining brightly, and the temperature was pleasant. Ideal conditions to spend the whole day in swimming trunks in a pool. For most of the morning, London was enjoying the water games in the kiddie pools. Her parents were always nearby and kept an eye on her at all times, as they knew how dangerous it can be to have an accident in such a place. You lose your focus or attention for a few seconds, and suddenly you lose sight of your child to whom anything could have happened. However, not even the most cautious of parents could have prevented what would happen a few hours later. "Come on, Daddy, we have to go down the biggest slide, you promised me. I'm grown up now and I'm big enough to go down, let's go," asked the little girl as she energetically pulled her father's arm in the direction of the biggest slide in the park. Without a doubt, the slide London was referring to had deservedly earned the nickname the Michigan Giant. It was an immense structure that towered above all the other attractions and could be seen from even the most distant roads. There was no other like it, and all the kids were crazy about sliding down its long slides and enjoying the adrenaline rush when they hit the water. London was looking forward to being able to ride one of the biggest slides ever built, and as she had finally reached the required height of 48 inches, she was more than ready to do so. The 273-foot slide was the tallest in the park, and shortly before getting on it, London spoke on video of how excited she was. Unfortunately, that video went from being a nice birthday memory to an unfortunate farewell. "I'm about to go down the world's biggest slide, see you at the bottom," said the excited little girl as she waited in line with her father. Her mother had stayed downstairs waiting so she could videotape the little girl as she got to the bottom, another thing she would never get to do. It all happened so fast, and it was impossible to predict what going down that slide was going to do to the little girl. As London prepared to go down the slide, she turned to her father, smiled broadly, gave him a thumbs up, and launched herself down the tube. Tragedy was to take place in less than a minute before the stunned eyes of everyone present, including her poor parents. The descent of this slide lasts about 7 seconds, but by the time London came out the other end, she was already in cardiac arrest. The excitement of the slide had caused her to have an abnormal heart rhythm, with chaotic heartbeats that provoked intense pain in her chest, and finally, after several agonizing minutes in which no one seemed to know what to do, made her lose consciousness. Chaos ensued. London's father kept trying to revive his daughter to no avail, while her mother in desperation ran to the park's lifeguard team for help. Unfortunately, to everyone's surprise, the young people in charge of security were unable to help, and none of the resuscitation maneuvers succeeded in bringing the girl back to consciousness. Her mother cried next to the girl's lifeless body while the paramedics tried to revive her. It was a truly heartbreaking scene. On the other hand, there was only one approved resuscitation device in the center, something that was later denounced since it was mandatory to have defibrillators throughout the park to be able to act quickly in such cases. By the time they arrived at the device and performed CPR, it was too late. The girl had lost consciousness and gone into severe cardiac arrest. Her life was hanging by a thread and she needed immediate hospital care. After being rushed to the hospital and after 2 hours of agonizing waiting in the emergency room hallway, the family discovered that London had long QT syndrome. Long QT syndrome is an inherited heart rhythm disorder that can cause rapid and chaotic heartbeats, palpitations, fainting, choking, or even sudden death. The condition can trigger sudden fainting spells or seizures, and if the heart beats erratically for too long, can lead to sudden death. My daughter has a heart condition and no one knew it. How is this possible? We've done annual medical checkups and she's had multiple tests throughout her life. They should have known about it, shouldn't they? Said the girl's father, very upset when he heard his daughter's medical diagnosis. I understand your anger, sir, but the truth is this type of heart condition is very difficult to detect. The reality is that many people are completely unaware they have it because they don't have any of the usual signs or symptoms until they have a serious cardiac episode. Often it's only discovered after genetic testing or by family history and ECG results. In most cases, it's treated with medication, but sometimes it's better to resort to surgery to implant a device to help control it. The doctor explained quickly and clearly, trying to bring calm to the family and make sense of everything that was happening with their daughter. The doctors explained that in London's case, the excitement caused her heart to beat erratically and abnormally. The anticipation and adrenaline of going down the slide was too much for her heart. Unfortunately, the joy the girl felt was ultimately her death sentence. Despite being flown by helicopter to the University of Michigan's Children's Hospital, London died 9 days later after suffering severe brain damage due to lack of oxygen. We did everything we could for her, but the injuries caused by the lack of oxygen were too severe. London fought to the end, but she was too young and her body was too weak. We're deeply sorry. These were the words of condolence that Mr. and Mrs. Eisenbeis would never forget, and the day their lives would be forever changed beyond repair. Her parents, shocked and heartbroken, never got over the loss of their daughter, but they did not want to sit idly by. They decided the best way to honor their daughter's memory would be to raise awareness of the heart condition that took her life and to advocate for improved safety measures and training for park employees. Just 1 year after London's death, they created a non-profit organization in her name, the London Strong Foundation, where they teach courses in cardiopulmonary resuscitation and explain the importance of knowing these maneuvers to ensure the safety of swimmers. They also believe that defibrillators should be readily available in the facilities and that workers should receive quality training to be able to use them. Its main objective is nothing more than prevent what happened to their daughter from happening to other unsuspecting children and families. Her pain will serve as an example for the authorities to become aware and decide to invest more money in equipment and health personnel in this type of busy facilities where thousands of people lose their lives every year. Did you enjoy this story? If so, we invite you to leave us a comment expressing your opinion. If you want to continue enjoying inspiring stories like this one, subscribe to our channel or check out the other videos shown at the bottom of the screen. Thank you for your cooperation.